Madison Public Library, summer 2020. Today we're going to talk about flip books and animation, and I'm going to show you how to make a really simple flip book. Hope you're doing well this summer. We've now entered July. Quite hot here, right? So if you're looking for something to do and you're inside, maybe trying to beat the heat a little bit, this is a great activity that you can do, which is making a flip book. So I want to introduce you a man who's really important in animation. He's actually a photographer. I'm going to hold his name up. He's got a really strange spelled name. But he's a photographer that was around in the 1800s, and his name was Eadweard Muybridge. And I'll hold it maybe down here so you can see it. So he was born in the United Kingdom, and when he was 20 years old, as a photographer and a bookseller, he moved to America. And he started in New York City, and then eventually he worked his way out, and he was out in San Francisco. And he switched from being a bookseller to becoming a full-time photographer. He is really important in animation because he was one of the first people to use multiple cameras to capture motion, and he created something called stop motion photography or stop motion photographs. And he became super famous mostly because of a bet, a gambling bet. There was a fellow out in San Francisco or in California who had a really important racehorse called Occident, I think it was called. And he wanted to capture this horse running because he and this other person had a bet that when a horse runs, the bet was that all four of its hooves leave the ground at some point when it's running. And the guy that owned the horse, I think his name is Leland, said, yes, all four of the hooves leave the ground when it's running. And the other guy said, oh no, that's not true. When a horse runs, it always has one hoof on the ground, right? So what this guy did is he hired the photographer Eadweard Muybridge to photograph this horse running. And what he did is he set up 12 cameras, so 12 big, gigantic cameras, right, at the racetrack. And he kept taking pictures, and the horse kept running around and around and around and around again. And then what happened is when he printed the pictures and he looked at them, when you would roll them really fast, like on a film projector, it actually was like animation. It was the first time animation was ever made, okay? I have a really simple box, and I'm gonna show it to you, and hopefully you can see as it works. This is a really simple animation box that I have, and these are Eadweard Muybridge's photographs. So here it is. These are the photographs he took. What happens when you turn it really fast, it makes it look like it's animation. So there's about 24 photographs in here. But as you turn it and flip it fast, those 24 photographs actually look like a horse that's running, right? And the man that owned the horse, he won the bet because, look, let's see if I can stop it at the right spot. When a horse runs, or a dog runs, or an animal runs, typically all four of its feet or all four of its hooves leave the ground. This is kind of cool. So this is the first form of animation that was ever made. The very first thing, way before movies and film, it was stop motion animation, so 24 pictures in a row, and it shows that it's running really fast, like a little movie, which is pretty cool. So Muybridge also made a whole bunch of other animals besides horses. He also did an animation book. Here's the same one, but it's in the form of a book. And so this is basically taking all of these photographs and putting them in a book. And it's called a flip book. In some places, of the other places of the world, they call them flick books, like F-L-I-C-K, flick books. But here they're called flip books. And it's kind of neat because it's sort of like holding a little movie in your hand. You can control how fast it goes or how slow it goes, right? So I'm going to hold it down here, and you can see it, hopefully. It's pretty good lighting today. and you hold it with one hand on the binding part here, and then you use your thumb, and all you do is flip it, and it's the same thing. It's a little bit different, but you can see it's the same horse. This one looks like it's not running at full speed. This one looks like it's just trotting, right? I think that's it. I think that's what it's called, trotting. So this is another Eadweard Muybridge film or book like that. And it's a little animation, a little movie. So here he also did a dog. This is a greyhound, I believe, dog. And it's the same thing. Here he is, it's running. This one, it looks like it is running at full speed. So he became famous for doing this, but he also became famous for all of his other photography. He was actually around a little bit before a very famous photographer in California called Ansel Adams. And Muybridge took tons of pictures also of Yosemite, which eventually is what Ansel Adams did and became super famous for, in addition to his other photographs as well. So it's kind of neat. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about flip books, because this is what we're going to make. Flip books have been around for a really long time, and they are the first form of animation, but what's kind of cool about them and what made them popular is there was this snack that's still around. It's called Cracker Jacks. And Cracker Jacks is like popcorn peanuts with caramel on it, and it comes in a red box like this. And in the old days, they used to put prizes in Cracker Jacks. There used to be a prize in it. And the very first prize ever put in a Cracker Jacks box was a flip book, which is pretty cool. So if you happen to buy it and get it, you got this flip book, and you got to have this little flip book that you could play with, which was kind of neat. Eventually, flip books became really important in America in the 1930s because of the Depression, and because way before cell phones, internet, TV, radio, people used to go, and their main form of entertainment was dancing. And so what people did in the 1930s is they put dance moves in flip books, and then they would sell them for 5 cents, and then people could like keep flipping it back and forth to see the dance move and learn the dance move, which is kind of cool. So flip books nowadays are kind of cool because you can get them all over. And what I've done is, for this year, I had the opportunity to travel over the world, and it's kind of neat because you can pick up flip books in different countries, and it's small, and it's something that you can bring home with you. You just have to sort of look for them. They're usually in like little souvenir stores. Here's an example of a flip book I got in Paris, France, and it's called After the Rain. So it's a little guy standing under a cloud. I don't know if you can see it very well. And I'll flip it a couple times. Let's see if I can flip it. So it looks like he's walking, and then all of a sudden the rain cloud shows up and it covers him, and then he kind of climbs up on the rain cloud. So here he is walking. It's starting to rain on him. One cloud covers him, but then he climbs up on the cloud and relaxes, which is kind of fun. So it's pretty simple, right? Like that. Here's one that I got in the United Kingdom in Scotland, and this one is called a flick book, so you can see they call them a little different. This is a cat and a mouse. I got this one in Scotland, and so it's really simple. Tells you, actually gives you the directions. Hold the spine of the book in your left hand. With the thumb of your right hand, flick through the pages from front to back. It's just a little cat, and he's trying to get the mouse, and the mouse gets away. If you can see it. So the thing that makes flip books work for humans is this weird thing called persistence of vision. We have the ability in our brains to see 12 images in 1 second of time, and we can make meaning from those images. So if you flip it, it's like you retain what's going on. You can kind of see it. See that? Makes sense, and you can make sense to see the next thing that happens, right? It's kind of neat. Here's another one that I got. I can't remember where I got this one, but I like this one a lot. It's called Where Does the Pink Bird Love to Go? Pretty simple. It's kind of like he likes to go to the beauty shop, or she likes to go to the beauty shop, and then they're all happy because their feathers are all puffed up. It's a little different. I like it because it's very simple shapes. simple color. It's kind of funny. Like that. Here's nature flip books. You can find these all over. This is a tiger running, which is pretty neat. It really looks like a tiger running, doesn't it? Well, what we would imagine we've seen in videos, maybe. This is a kind of neat one because it also has quotes about tigers and facts on the back side of the pages. This is one I picked up at Target a long time ago. It's actually coupons, but it's kind of fun because they made it into a flip book with the dog. It used to be their mascot, this white bulldog that picks up the money sign with Target bubbles around him. Doesn't flip the best, but it's kind of fun to have it. This is a really cool one. It's Napoleon Dynamite. It's called Flippin' Sweet. So I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Napoleon Dynamite. It's pretty neat because they took the video of him dancing and it's him dancing, but the cool thing about this is it's a double-sided flip book. So you go like this. Oops, hold on. Let's see if I can do it. Here he is doing his dance moves, going kind of fast, sorry. There he goes. I'll do it again. And then watch my hands. I can flip it over. This is the back side, but it continues, which is pretty neat, isn't it? Can't flip this one so well, but hopefully you can get the idea of Napoleon Dynamite dancing. I have a lot of art flip books of famous artists. So this one's Keith Haring, and it's a very old one. I had to retape the binding because it was coming apart. It's a little different because you really should flip it this way, but I like to hold it this way. So these are two of Keith Haring's characters, and they just are kind of fun. I don't know if I can do this way. We'll see. Because they are just interacting with each other, flipping each other over. They've got holes in their chests, jumping through each other like that. It's one of my favorite ones. And then this is one that a high school student did. It's called The Wrong Ball. And it's really simple. It's a paddle ball, see that, in a hand. And it's just the paddle ball bouncing back and forth. See that? I have way more flip books than this, but I just wanted to show you a couple of these. This is the one called Jumping on a Mushroom. So it's a trampoline guy jumping and he falls off the trampoline and let's see, you can't get to the end. He lands on a mushroom. And then this is one that was the beginning of one that someone did, whoops, that didn't get finished. So it was an arrow shooting through something like that. So the thing about flip books is that makes them work the best. I'm gonna go back to this one with the bird, see this? Is that when you draw it, you want to draw it on this edge. You don't want to draw away in here because you don't always see it when you draw away in here, right? And if you're drawing here, you can kind of draw that same thing in the same place, and then up until this point, that bird really never moves from that spot. It's just little things that change, right? Like that. So what you want to do is you want to get for yourself a stack of Postit Notes. If you feel like one giant stack is too much, just peel some off. Maybe take half off like this. Just peel them off, right? And then I typically take tape, just some clear tape. And what I do is I go to the binding, the sticky area, and I just tape it, just so it stays taped, like that. There we go. And then usually you leave the front, I'm gonna put another piece of tape. Usually you leave the front for your title or maybe an image on the front of it, right? Right here. But then you're gonna figure out what you're gonna make happen. Now, the thing about this is, whatever you make happen, you wanna make it happen slowly, which I know sounds strange because you're interested in flipping it fast. But if you make something happen slowly, right, then when you flip it, it looks like it's changing fast. So I'm just gonna do a simple one. I'm gonna go backwards, and here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with a line, and I'm using a marker so you can see it, like that. And on every page, I'm gonna kind of draw that same line. So that line basically stays the same. I think I have about 16 or maybe more pages. Okay, so I'll just kind of stop there. Okay, now I want to make something happen on this line. So either above or below the line, right? So I'm actually going to make a letter M. See this? There's my letter M. And then on my letter M, I'm going to actually go like this. I'm going to make some simple mountains. See that? So I'll try it again. Pretty much the same. Try to make it feel like it's the same. It might change slightly, but that's okay, right? It actually kind of looks like teeth too, doesn't it? Like teeth. So if you try to think of things that you can draw, you got to think about something you can draw over and over again that kind of stays the same, right? Don't try to do something too difficult right away, but you can eventually try to do something a little bit more difficult if you have a couple of stacks of Post-it notes. I think that's the last one. Oh, no, here we go. Okay, so here's my wackadoodle kind of simple mountains. Oops, that one's not so great. Okay, and now I'm just gonna do something really simple. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna go like this. See that? I just made a little thing. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make that come up and it's gonna be a sun. So the sun's gonna come up slowly and bigger over the mountains. And I'm making it change slowly. It's getting smaller and moving kind of up to a corner. Maybe the sun's gonna go off, maybe. Right? And then all of a sudden, maybe from right here, what comes up? That's too big, too fast, but that's okay. Here's the moon. Okay, so here's the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sun rays. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting bigger. Bigger. Oh, now it starts to get smaller again. I'm gonna put 2 down there. 3 there. And there's the moon. So let's take a look at it. There it is. Let's see if it moves. Oh yeah, look at that. It's going off the page. So I only did a few. I have a few more pages to go, but it kind of gives you the idea something changes slowly. A fun one always to do is to start with a seed underground and then make the seed grow into something. That's kind of fun. This is a very simple beginning of that. This is the most simplest thing you can do, right? But if you can do it slowly, like it changes slowly and it's over here, it looks really cool when you're done. And you can color this whole thing in. It doesn't have to be just in a pencil or pen, but I mean, you can leave it in pencil and pen too. So I don't know if you have access to social media. If you have Instagram, it's a good one, or YouTube. But these are my absolute favorite, my 2 favorite flipbook people on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you type in Andy Mation, there's this great flipbook artist, and he gives you all kinds of videos, and he shows you he's kept all of his flipbooks that he's made since he was a kid. He'll show you all of his really cool flipbooks that he has. He'll show you how to do it. It's on YouTube and it's called Andymation, Andymation. Or this is a really great person that does flip books. I'm not sure exactly who this person is, but also on YouTube, it's called The Flippist. It's Flippist. Excellent videos. You can also go on YouTube and just type in flip books, and there's some amazing flip books out there of people who will take famous music, dancing. There's one with Michael Jackson and some movies that they've done out there that they put to music, and it's all flip books, and they're recreating like famous dancing, which is kind of very cool. So anyway, well, I hope you've had a good time today and that you have the opportunity to make a flip book if you have a chance to do it. Whatever you have is available to you. If you have just some Postit notes, or even, you know what else I use sometimes is I use index cards. They work really well as well. And figure out what you can draw, make something, animate something that changes slowly, right? It becomes a little magic movie in your hand. This is kind of dark. I'm sorry you can't see that one. It's a really great flip book with Napoleon Dynamite. Right? Well, thanks for joining me today. And the next session for Art with Amy for the library is we will be doing, let me see if I can do this. There we go. So the next session for Art with the library, we will be doing some solar systems. We're going to work on the solar system. You would need for this one to hang on to a few things if you could collect it, which is you need some different size circles. Like I'm going to use a plastic yogurt cap, a quarter, different size circles, a bottle cap, and then a cap like this. And you also would need 2 pieces of white paper, a pencil, some markers, scissors, and some tape. So next time we're gonna create the solar system if you're interested in joining me. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good day, and maybe join me next time for solar systems. Bye.